Get ready to kick back and enjoy some quality you time. Welcome to the Do You Podcast. My name is Mike Byron, the host of the Do You Podcast. Welcome to our next episode. Thanks for joining. And I've got a special guest with me, Macntaj.
Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, I'm glad you're here. How do you define, for other people, like who you are?
I pride myself in one, being authentic, and two, expressing myself freely regardless of how anybody else feels about it. A lot of times I'll approach video concepts and song concepts from an unorthodox place. I try to be as original as possible, regardless of what anybody thinks about it or how they perceive it.
The book definition of there's 4 pillars to hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
The music itself, like art, dance, and style.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think of that in the same way?
Not at all. No.
So it doesn't fit the definition, I guess.
We ain't wearing Kangos no more, spinning on cardboard boxes. I feel like right now, especially, like just like really anything, like the game of basketball has evolved tremendously. If you look at how people used to play the game in the 90s versus now, just like even the shots they take are different. I feel like the genre of hip hop has expanded to a point to where it's more inclusive of what you would probably in the past consider like subgenres. Like there's like cats that like if you showed, there's people now that if you show maybe, an artist 20 years ago, he would even consider him an R&B singer, or pop or something like that. But now there's just there's so many layers to rap hip hop.
So the Garden Block neighborhood, does that represent a subgenre?
Does it represent a subgenre of music?
Yeah, of hip hop.
I feel like it represents an important piece of West Coast gangster rap music. So I feel like since that's a fact, then it has to hold the place in hip hop history, period. I mean, you look at everybody that came from there: X-Rated, Looney Coleon, Sibo, Bop, Brother Lynch Hung, Marvelous, the Flowhekins, Smick Dirty. It's a lot of history.
And you too, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Who's your friend in Seattle?
I grew up a little bit in Seattle. I grew up in Sacramento. I grew up in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I grew up in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. My family's from Coatesville, so that's how I got there. I stayed with my sister for a period of time, and she was stationed in Biloxi. That's how I got there. And how I got introduced to South Sacramento, or the Garden Block neighborhood more specifically, was through one of my childhood best friends. I met him when I was 12 years old. And his family, they had a house on 29th, or a Gardendale in 29th Street. And I would go there for the summers and just spend some time there. And then when I was a little bit later, I dropped out of school. And so I had no reason to really be in Washington. So I was spending more time in South Sacramento. And then, I was meeting people there, and they would come back with me to Washington, and they stayed there with me for a couple years. So it was
cool.
That's really how like the relationship started when I was younger.
You guys still friends?
Me and him, yeah. It's my brother.
It's your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Shout out to N.Dawson. His name's N.Dawson.
All right, cool, man.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about him?
He's a producer. He lives in Dallas right now. One of the most loyal people I've ever encountered in my life. Has risked his life for me several occasions when he didn't have to, when we were just kids, putting ourselves in stupid situations. Always stood up for me. Always showed love. Always had my back. So I'm forever indebted to him.
What led to you stopping school?
I just kept getting kicked out.
You getting kicked out?
Yeah.
What age were you around?
I'll say from before the 7th grade, I had probably been suspended or expelled 70 to 80 times maybe.
Oh my God, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so 8th grade year I got homeschooled because no school would take me in the area, so I didn't have a choice. I tried the internet school shit. I'm not taking that shit seriously. Internet school, please. I'm you know what I'm saying? I have no structure, nobody. So I didn't really take anything seriously, really. And then I tried to go to a school called Liberty High School, and it was in a white neighborhood in Issaquah, like a very affluent neighborhood, and I lasted there almost half a year. and I would try to go somewhere else, and I lasted maybe like a month or two.
Talk about touring a little bit.
Fortunately, I've been blessed to. I do a lot of fly-in dates. I've definitely done a little 3-4 city run in a week in a car, and then so I've experienced that. Then maybe the next week after that, my show was in Minnesota, so I just fly out there and do that, as opposed to stay in the whip with all these people for 5 days leading up to my show. I'm going home, I'm getting rest, I'm playing video games, I'm easing my mind,
nice.
And then I will fly out.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man, for sure. Tell me about your tour in India.
So I had got hit up by an artist out of India who was looking to throw together a tour, as well as open up for it. At first, I didn't take it too seriously. I just thought, he's just talking. He ain't finna bring me out to India, But it happened. Went out to India. I did Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Delhi.
What was that like?
It was humbling experience. It's a lot of poverty there. The dynamic between like poverty and wealth is so extreme. Like, you'll literally be in a $20 million hotel and you can throw a rock and hit the hood.
How did you meet the guy in India?
He hit me up on Instagram.
So he kind of reached out to you.
Yeah, I was kind of, so I was, at the time, I was doing a lot of work in EDM, which is how I actually got my start. I got propositioned by an artist named Bassnectar, who happened to be one of the more popular EDM DJs in the scene.
Lauren Ashton,
yeah. And he had asked me to get on a couple records, which I did. Then that led to me getting on a bunch of other people's records that were of similar size of him. And my name, Macntaj, think of it like the Taj Mahal. Like Taj, that's a very trendy name in India. So that's how I guess my name kind of caught their attention. And they're big in EDM over there. So they're listening to all my EDM shit with Wachi, with Hydraulics, BTSM, Lucid, Levitate, Bassnectar. They're listening to all that. So I got booked on the strength of that. But I when I go there, I'm performing my shit. I'll give them a couple of the songs they want, but I'm not an EDM rapper, So but it was a good experience. It was a good experience. I'm thankful for that. It definitely put life into perspective for me.
How old are you now?
29.
And you wrote your first song
when I was 14.
When you were 14. Mm-hmm. We were talking earlier about that.
Yeah. And
that was an aha moment for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit.
I was such a fan of rap and hip hop growing up, and like those people to me were gods. Like, you couldn't tell me anything bad about Mac Dre. You couldn't tell me anything bad about X-Rated, Killer Cam, Looney Coleon. Yeah, I was my little ass was listening to Lil Bow Wow and shit. Like, I had like an Eminem. I was listening to all his. I was a fan of this shit, and I would literally obsess over it. Like, I would just put in my headphones and just listen to the same album 100 times. So when I got in the studio the first time and I actually got to hear myself, I was like, "What the fuck? Is this easy? Like, what? This is all these niggas is doing?"
Nice.
My child brain just thought there has to be more to this.
Now, we talked about that a little bit too before the show. Your first studio experience. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? What did that feel like, and how did that come together?
I'm 14 years old. My brother was a rap artist at that time.
He's not doing it anymore.
I guess it's a hobby, more or less, but he's like kind of moved on to other things in his life. But he took me to the place he was recording at. So it was a studio in South Seattle. It was ran by a guy named Bassnectar. And they just let me go, put me in there, let me do my thing. Didn't take me seriously. Let this little nigga, he say you want to rap, okay. You know what I'm saying, type shit.
Yeah, people talking in the background.
People you hear people talking in the background of my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like literally like the mic is here and they're talking where you're sitting. Like, and that's like, when you're in the studio, you just don't do, it's like studio etiquette. If somebody's recording and you don't have the luxury of having the mic in a separate room, you're not supposed to talk while they're recording.
Yeah, you didn't have the respect yet. You turned that to your sort of advantage, didn't you?
Yeah, so we recorded a song called House Party. I recorded a song called House Party, and they're talking in the background, and it served me because it sounds like I'm at a house party. So it worked, but it's like, shit, what if the song was called something else? Or what if it was about something else?
Now, where did that end up taking you?
That music?
Was that like a demo that you put together? Or?
It was just a series of songs I was working on. I wouldn't say it took me anywhere as much as it just changed what I knew I could do and what was possible. It just kind of opened my eyes and said, okay, I can do this. Now how do I do it?
Cool, man. So you really just immersed in it, and as soon as you realized it clicked, you were on it, and you were just ran with it, it sounds like. So between then and 2016 and coming to the attention of Bassnectar, what was going on? Were you performing?
I was in a group called Slightly Flagrant at the time, and I was just trying to figure it out. I was with this chick at the time. She had a baby, and I was more or less just kind of taking care of what I needed to do to take care of my family at that time. So my mind wasn't really on music like that. I would do it, but I wasn't taking it super seriously. You gotta imagine, her and I broke up in 2016. I feel like ever since her and I broke up, my life has just gotten tremendously better. You know what I'm saying?
When you wrote "I Hope You Cough," was that with her in mind or what?
No, hell no.
No.
No, it wasn't about her.
All right, we won't go there.
No, it wasn't. I'll answer who it was. Well, I won't say who it was about because it's like I ain't gonna put it on blast like that. But I will say it was about just several females, I guess. But it was like one in particular that like inspired the song. And then as I was writing the song, I was thinking, yeah, damn, this bitch is stupid too. Yeah, fuck this bitch too. And this is for you, bitch. Like I kind of started going in on all of them, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't her though.
What's the line? I don't want you to die, but I hope you miss work or something. That's like classic, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. How about women in hip hop? Are they do they have a presence? And have you ever collaborated with a female?
Yeah. I think so. I think that they have a strong presence. I wish they had a stronger presence. There's a lot of female artists that are dope. I like Tierra Whack. I think she's dope as hell. I like Ken the Man. She's dope as shit. Her name's Ken the Man, but it's a female. She's dope as hell. I like Gifted Gab. I like Blimes.
So they got some representation there.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was more, but there's a lot of dope female artists.
Talk about Omni a little bit in that EP. How did that come around?
So Levitate. Omni is a hybrid trap electronic project that Levitate and I did. Levitate is the one that put my name in Bassnectar's ear to begin with.
Oh, okay. So that's how
That's because him and Bassnectar have been working together. Levitate's shout out to Levitate too. He's just a dope ass producer. Like this motherfucker's brain is just like the ideas he thinks of and the concepts that he's able to just create are ridiculous. So we work on that project, put it out, and that actually got me a lot of attention in the electronic world as well, just because nothing ever like it had been created. Like that's a project that 10 years from now, like these new electronic producers are gonna look back and just listen to like those ideas and just be like, fuck, like it's so ahead of its time. I'm really proud of that project.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man. Sounds like it was a real shift, not just for you, but for the industry overall. Those two things coming together.
Yeah.
Where has that gone since without you? Like, are there other artists doing that now as well?
Like what? Like, are you
rapping
saying
with EDM?
Well, no, I didn't start that. Artists have been doing that before I came around, but it was just the type of. It was the type of music it was. Like if you compare the project we did to anything that had been done in the past, it's just not the same. I'm not even gonna say it's better or worse. It's just not the same. It's different. It's in the class of its own. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And are you still in that mode of doing work with EDM artists?
Not really.
What took you away from that? It was just sort of
bad business.
time.
Bad business. Not with Levitate, nothing like that. I was on tour with a cat out of LA, a pretty well-known cat, one of like the founders of like the trap scene in EDM.
Let me stop you right there.
Sure.
The trap scene, what is that?
So in EDM, it's just like the style of music. It's just like it has a lot to do with the drums and the synths and shit like that.
The 808.
Not to be confused with like hip hop trap. It's like more like a fusion of like electronic trap. And he had kind of been like one of the founders of like the sound, I guess you can say. And we was on tour and just doing a bunch of shit, and we just went through some weird shit, and I'm not gonna get too much into that, but I'll just say bad business kind of took me away from that realm. And then also, like, there's artists that brand themselves in that lane that, no offense, but nobody knows who the fuck they are. It's literally a cul-de-sac industry. Like, you do these 3-4 things well, people come see you over and over again. These festivals are filled with people that aren't even there for any specific artist. They just come to get drunk, do Molly, fuck each other, and that was my experience. No disrespect, but I'm just keeping it a buck. And they don't necessarily come for the artist as much as they come to just have a great time.
The experience.
And for that, it's hard to brand yourself outside of the festivals and things like that. There's really no longevity because what's your lane? What's your platform? And I just kind of seen where it was going. And I was already kind of like, I don't know. And then that in the back of my mind, coupled with the bad business experience I had in LA, just completely was like, nah, I'm good. It's a wrap.
Talk about putting out the EPs of, Omni and Trappy Gilmore.
So Omni, Levitate commissioned me for Omni. So we did that, put it out. But Trappy Gilmore was my first. So I did a Trappy Gilmore 1, but I didn't release it on all DSPs. It was my first project. I didn't have the best mix on it. I'm still kind of learning and coming into my own as an artist. So the Trappy Gilmore 1, that's on SoundCloud. Trappy Gilmore 2 was my first project to hit DSPs. So when Trappy Gilmore 2 hit, we had one of my biggest songs on that project was Superpowers.
That's a great song, man.
Yeah. That
great video.
Thank you. That was one of the biggest records on there. And then I dropped a project called 2020 Sucks in March of, I think March 23rd of 2020 is when it came out. And I put that project together as soon as we found out about quarantine. I just took a week in the studio, made the album in a week, got it, sent it off for mixing. I made the album in a week. I sent it off for mixing and dropped it. And it was just kind of just... I literally, if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago when I'm dropping a project or what I have coming soon, I'd have told you I don't know, I'm working.
How did you support your album without being able to tour?
I didn't put too much thought into it. I just did the artist thing and put the shit out. Like I didn't. I'm sure, better judgment would have told me, hey, we have to do X, Y, and Z and complete this whole checklist before we drop the project. But where my mind was, I just had so much to say and so much on my heart that I was also frustrated by just the climate of where Earth was at. Kobe just died, broke my heart. Kobe's my favorite person ever. I don't give a shit. Him and Adam Sandler was like my niggas. I love them niggas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
what a mix, Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So when Kobe died, I was like, fuck. Like, I was so heartbroken. And then I was dealing with shit with this little weirdo bitch I was with at the time, and I was like, man, bro, I gotta get this shit out. So what it was.
Nice. Trappy Gilmore 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that's more representative of what you wanted to be doing?
Trappy Gilmore 2 is just, it's not even close. It's way better. It's like, sonically, it's more pleasing. If lyrically, it's better. You can tell I'm coming into my own as an artist on that record. That's like the first record to where I dropped it and the response was so great just because like I felt like people were finally getting who I was. I didn't feel that way when I dropped Trappy Gilmore 1.
What's the next sort of EDM experience for you? Is there something else on the horizon?
It's just the stuff I create. I don't know. I might come in here tomorrow inspired as hell and make something that I'm really excited about. I'm not really, it's not so much about me being experimental to be experimental. I just do things that I'm inspired to do regardless of whether they're traditional or not. So I just kind of let the moment take me.
Let's talk about the craft of songwriting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is it inspiration that hits and you're going to stop what you're doing and start to write out your lyrics, or is it like planned time where you sit down?
No, it's just whenever. It's whenever I feel inspired, I'll just stop what I'm doing and write. Nothing's ever more important to me than writing. Like unless I'm at a funeral or something, or a wedding or some shit like that, I guess. Only been to one wedding, but. And yeah, like I'm stopping whatever I'm doing and writing, period. I write cadences and melodies, and then I just fill them in with lyrics.
So the melodies piece, the music, how does that come in to the whole process of making a song for you?
You're vibing with either the engineer or yourself in the studio, depends on who's there, and they'll either start playing some beats they have, or you'll play some. Sometimes they'll just start off with maybe a lead, maybe a splice sample, and that lead, you'll say, okay, let me hear that again, and you'll start kind of coming up with ideas and cadences and stuff like that. You'll lay that down, or at least I do. I lay scratch vocals down. I get my ideas recorded. Then they add drums, and then we go through and record everything for real a final time.
So I've noticed in your music and in your videos, there's a little bit of menacing going on. Like there's a little tension always to get to know you. There's a lot of different layers, but loss and pain seems to be under a lot of that. But when I see you in the hallways or in your videos, you have this grimace, like,
you
know what I mean?
You gotta zoom in on him when he does that. That's funny. Okay.
There's tension underneath. Like, do you use humor to sort of deal with all that?
I wouldn't even, I wouldn't call it pain, because that's like, I don't need nobody playing those small violins. There's people that have had it way worse than me. It's not, I don't stand on that. I'm just saying, like, I've learned a lot, is what I like to say. I just learned a lot of shit, and I'm experiencing a lot of different things. And humor's always been a way for me to, I guess, kind of just brush things off.
Yeah, it seems like you don't take yourself too seriously.
I don't do that.
Do you consider yourself a visual artist as well?
I am. I feel like I'm just as much of a visual artist as I am an auditory one. Like, in terms of, I was telling Vanezzi this the other day. He was asking me about it, and I told him I write my songs and my music videos simultaneously. Like, it just happens at the same time, And that's not saying I'm writing a treatment to it, like from this time to this time this happens. Not all the time, but what happens is I see a concept, and I see certain scenes, and I just write them all down, take them to my video team, and we draft the treatment together, and then we execute it.
What's that experience like? Talk about that process a little bit. So you said that you'll like brainstorm ideas, and you have a set sort of vibe that you want to portray. When you hand that off, does it usually come out the way you expected?
Sometimes it comes out better. I mean, so I work with Justin freaking Gage Soylor. Apologize if I'm butchering your last name, brother, but they're out of Pasco, Washington, and they run a production team called A Frick Take.
Yeah, seen that.
And yeah, so I mean, the process, how it works is I'll come up with a few songs I like. I'll shoot it to them ahead of time with concepts. We'll FaceTime, map out treatments. I'll review the treatments. We'll make sure we have everything that we need, all the people we need, all the locations we need, all the wardrobe, the props, whatever we need. Fly out there for 2 weeks. We shoot every day, come back here, and then now I'm getting a completed video every 3 weeks. As soon as they finish them, I'm getting them. And then
you're getting them out too right away? Or?
Yeah, and then by the time I get the third one, we're scheduling the next time I'm going out there.
Biggest musical influence in your life, Bob? My brother. So talk about that a little bit. Yeah. His music that he was doing, or is just...
I looked up to my brother a lot when I was younger, and he would always come back from the studio and play his music, and I was always very inspired by that.
How much of that was wrapped up in his lifestyle as well? So was that your sort of initiation into the gang culture?
Through my brother?
Yeah, through your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. How involved did you get in that?
Well, my brother, growing up, he had a hard childhood too. A lot harder than mine, I'd like to think. And so he just kind of got wrapped up in some things, and it was just always in my face and always in the household. And I just saw him do a lot of shit when I was younger. I saw him do a lot of violent things to like people in my house and bring a lot of stuff in the house. And like it for me, I thought the shit was tight. I kind of idolized it a little bit. And then so when I would hear his music, you know what I'm saying, like kind of bragging about some of the stuff, I thought it was dope. But it was a weird thing because there was a part of me that had so much animosity towards him because I didn't like some of the stuff he was doing to the people I loved. But then there was a part of me that idolized him too.
Yeah,
And there was
right.
like literally angels and demons just in me about my brother like that. When I was a kid, I loved him and I respected him, but there was like this deep rooted animosity. Like, man, why are you doing that shit?
Yeah, it sounds like he kind of got on a path and he didn't really try to emulate it, but it sort of was your induction into that lifestyle.
He definitely taught me a lot of shit for sure. I'll say that. I don't know if it wasn't the best shit to teach somebody, but I'll never teach nobody that. I try to inspire and help people. Whoever wants to be helped, I'll help. You know, someone just needs somebody to talk to, and it's if someone needs someone to talk to, I'll listen. I know I said earlier I don't like being talked to, but it's what I meant by that. I'll clarify. It's just like meaningless, baseless conversation to me when I could be spending my time doing other stuff I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
But if one of my friends or brothers needs something, I'm always there to listen.
What about this guy that's roaming around the halls here? His name is, he goes by Stacks. Do you know that guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have interaction with him and others like that that are coming up?
Yeah. Yeah, Stacks, he's from Denver. He's a young artist. He's dope. I try to help him as much as possible. If he needs something, I try to make sure he has it.
Who did that for you besides your brother?
My brother didn't do that for me. He didn't. I wish he did.
I guess it was, yeah.
Nah, I didn't have nobody do that for me.
You kind of looked up to him, but it wasn't like he was taking you into a good place.
I wasn't, man. Listen, like, okay, so my brother, I looked up for him. If he had it, he might have given it to me, but he didn't really have much growing up. You know, I'm telling you, it wasn't the best relationship. Like, it was a really weird thing. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like I love him and like he'll take me places, but then the next second he's flashing on me, whooping on me. My brother's 14 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? Semi-professional boxer.
Oh,
So when I'm 10, he's 24. I can't. He's a grown ass man.
When I was 10, my brother was 11 and a half, and he still kicked my ass.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like me and my brother. Like, I love him. You know, like we recently on Christmas we had a conversation, and he knows I love him. It's my brother. Like, but you know, for a long time I just didn't like him.
Do you see further transformation, further growth? Like, where is music taking you now?
Man, honestly, I try not to overthink it. I have goals. I have like my 2021 goals that I would love to reach. But at the end of the day, I just do this because I really love it. And even if I wasn't in a position to be here in this building or to have any, type of relationship with any label, I would still do it just because I love to do it and it's therapeutic for me.
How do you define success? Like,
By being able to create freedomly, really just freedom. Freedom is success to me. When I could wake up and go wherever the fuck I want without giving any warning, and I'm able to freely help those around me financially, spiritually, mentally, whatever. Just the freedom to create, to do nothing but inspire and travel and see the world. Like, that to me is success.
Must be pretty cool to actually get to that level where it's coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like that's tenuous?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it could slip away at any time, or
I
the
mean,
fame and the success.
I mean, everybody. Yeah, I feel like everyone's a couple choices away from their worst nightmare. Like that person that you never want to be like, you're a few choices away from being that if you don't consistently work, consistently strive to do better. You know, nobody's better than that. Nobody's better than any situation. Nobody's better than being a dope fiend in 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
right.
You got to just continue to work, continue to perfect your craft and take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, all that.
Where do you see yourself at the end of 2021?
Yeah, I have goals. I see myself more polished. I see myself as a bigger artist with more opportunities. Around with a Rolodex full of more important people. I feel like I want to improve every aspect of what I have now. I don't necessarily have. I have little bucket list items in between that I'm gonna keep to myself because I want them to manifest first.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just see myself as a bigger artist, more success, financial freedom.
Thank you for joining the Do You podcast. And thanks to our special guest for joining us today. Not done doing you? Well, I'm your host, Mike Byron. Until next time, buckle up, keep your hands on the wheel, and remember to do you.